Well, I watched this movie the other day called Zola. Now Zola is actually a pretty interesting story. Now Zola, I didn't know they were making a movie on this, and I actually don't remember when this whole situation started. But back in, I want to say 2014, 2015, there was a Twitter thread. There was a thread of about 148 tweets, and it told this story. It told this story from someone named Zola, who is a dancer. She dances at, like, strip clubs and stuff like that, where she did this series of tweets on Twitter detailing a trip that she went on with someone she met at the restaurant that she works in. And this trip was just so crazy and so unbelievable. But it was supposed to all be a true story, so I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know about the tweets. Back when it happened, when I heard about this movie, I went and looked it up and I did a little research on it, and I read the whole 148 thread tweet. You can find it if you Google it. And I actually read some other stuff because I was curious about what happened to the characters after all of this stuff happened. So I read some more information and found out some more information about the different characters that were talked about in this series of tweets. Well, Zola is a movie that's based on that tweet, which is, I think this is the first time something like this has happened. A movie, you see movies based on books, you see movies based on true stories, but you don't necessarily see movies based on a series of tweets, and that's what this is. Zola is a movie based on a series of tweets. Before I continue on, if you like to see more videos and stuff about movie reviews, TV show reviews, Netflix, in the theater, whatever, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. I always post a lot of videos. I try to do at least one video weekly, sometimes two or three. But go ahead and subscribe to this channel, the DL Jones Show, and make sure you give it a thumbs up, a like, so this video could get shown to more people. Okay, so the whole point of the movie is this. You have the main character whose name is Zola. She's working at it's not Hooters. I'm guessing they couldn't use the Hooters brand in the restaurant. They created a restaurant that was similar to Hooters. One of the ones where the girls come out there and they kind of like, be friendly with the people that's ordering food or whatever. Well, she's working at this restaurant, and then there's this girl that comes in, a girl named Stephanie, and she has a guy with her. And the girl kind of flirts with her a little bit, and while they're talking, they both find out that they have danced at the same club. They exchange numbers. And then the very next day, that particular girl, Stephanie, calls Zola and asks her to go with her on a trip to Florida so that they can make some money dancing at different, nightclubs in Florida. Zola is like, okay, I'm going. So next thing you know, Stephanie shows up with her boyfriend and another guy and picks Zola up, and they drive down to Florida to make some money, dancing at different strip clubs and stuff like that. Now, on the way down to Florida, you see that things aren't right. Zola, she's kind of looking at them. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. Stephanie's boyfriend, who I think his name was Derek, he seemed like he wasn't all there mentally. And then Stephanie, she kind of seemed like she was just too out there. She was like doing too much, saying too much. She just seemed like off the hook a little bit. And then she had this mysterious guy, the guy that was doing the driving. They called him X. It was a tall black guy, and you can see that Zola's just giving them looks. She don't know what's going on. It looks weird. But the whole movie's just just talk about that whole, I guess it was about 2 or 3 days, where it starts off where they go to a strip club and dance. They don't really make much money. And then Zola finds out that her pictures that her and Stephanie had taken where they was just playing around with each other, have been posted on the website, and they had been put up for like prostitution. And, and she was kind of forced into like doing prostitution, which of course Zola, she was like, she's not having it. That's not what she came here for. So she didn't do any of the prostitution, but Stephanie did. And Zola kind of served as like a lookout. But it just went off the hook. It went crazy to the point where Stephanie ended up getting into some trouble, and they have to go and rescue her. It was just crazy, everything was just crazy. I'm not going to spoil too much of it because I think it's worth a watch. The story is interesting. I think it's worth a watch. Better yet, I would say do a search for the series of tweets and read through those. But yeah, it was like when I watched the movie, I don't know. While it was entertaining, and it was enjoyable, I think I would have enjoyed it more if I watched the movie without knowing the whole backstory behind everything. for the fact that I talked about before, as far as you know, the sex trafficking and all of that kind of stuff, the stuff that's going on in today's world. But yeah, the movie is sort of like someone, you know, Zola kind of gets tricked to go on this trip, and she's basically kind of being held against her will for a while. Once she realized that this isn't what she thought it was, she's being held against her will. And it was interesting. It's interesting to see her navigate through that. It's interesting to see how crazy things will get. Things had gone, you know, and everything like that. But you know what? I pretty much enjoyed reading the tweets more so than I enjoyed the movie. While, you know, I kind of enjoyed the movie. I thought it was pretty decent, but I kind of left, you know, watching that movie feeling a little like a lot of stuff was left out. And I guess that happens when you read a book and then watch the movie based on that book. I guess you kind of feel the same way in those situations. But yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like important things were left out. The way the movie ended, I think they left out a whole part of the story. I don't think it was said in the tweets, but in the story afterwards, as far as finding out that those characters got arrested and they tried to do that with some other women that they picked up and all of that kind of stuff, just kind of putting a bow on the whole story, you know, being that this was basically like a sex trafficking type of being forced to do stuff against your will type story. But there wasn't like a ending, you know, that told what happened to these people. Did they pay for what they was doing? You know, there was no ending. There was no resolution to this stuff. It just kind of told the story and then stopped, you know. And I kind of felt like, you know, when it was over with, I kind of felt like, you know, there was something missing, you know, like there needed to be a part two or something that explains to you what happens to these people. Why did this happen? If it was left things kind of arbitrary, you know, as far as if Stephanie did actually trick Zola into going into this, or was this like happenstance and things just happened to go the way they went, just random coincidence. You know, they didn't solve any of that stuff, and they didn't show you any of that stuff. And it just left me feeling like there should be more to this story. There should be like a resolution that should have been told on screen in this movie. And like I said, if you watch this movie and never read the tweets, never read any of the background story, you may not feel that way, you know, because the story was pretty much serious. They consider it a dark comedy. You know, there was some parts in the story that was kind of funny and comical and stuff like that. They kind of played it for fun. But it was, you know, like a serious, you know, dramedy type of story, you know. But yeah, overall, I would say watch it. You know, if you like those type of stories, those dark comedies, those dramedies, I would say watch it. You know, it's pretty interesting, especially to know that this is based on real events, you know, according to the tweets. You know, it's pretty interesting to see how crazy things went, you know, and what these Zola and Stephanie and Derek and X and all of them people had to go through during the course of the couple of days that they were on their trip to Florida, you know. But you know, I got another video. If you're interested in watching another video with what I consider to be a controversial type storyline that I had a lot of problems with when I was watching it, check out my video review of I Do Care. You can check that out right there. But that was another movie that, if you like this movie, I would say, I mean, completely different subject matter, but I would say that one still would kind of fall along the same lines of the type of subject matter that kind of make you think about different things. But thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time.